Yes, yes. Dynamite!
Okay.
Peace and love, y'all. My name is Smitty Coleon, aka the Don Dada, aka when King Tut talk on the far right of me.
You know, it's real easy. When I got it, y'all get it. When we get it, we good.
And this is It Ain't Personal, where we give you our opinions, we hit you with some facts. We might just talk about you, but it ain't personal. Today, we got some family in the building,
Mhm.
man. Someone who played a pivotal role in both our musical careers and a slew of others. You know, a legend, a legend in
Definitely.
the
I
game,
appreciate
a
that.
legend in the game. Andrew Krivonos.
Mhm.
Hey,
Peace, bro.
thank you guys for having me.
Big
Yes.
act, big AK.
Pleasure to
AK.
be here with you guys.
Yes, yes.
I feel like we've known each other for what, 20 years now?
Yeah, this year
Definitely.
makes 20
20
years,
years
bro.
now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, I guess it's come full circle. We were
Yeah,
here,
man.
and B. Smith was putting a microphone on me, and I felt like I was now the talent in
Yeah,
Well,
it's full
it's about
circle,
time.
man.
Well,
he
Full
was AV
circle.
department over there.
Yeah.
well, it's about time actually you be the talent because you are the most
Oh, I
talented
appreciate that,
engineer.
Mikey.
You
Uh-huh.
are the most talented engineer. Yes, I'm being biased.
Yeah.
Yes, this is the first engineer that I've had. Shout out to B Rad, but this is the first. This is the godfather of engineering to me.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I've been doing it for a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah,
I
you've been
think
doing it
it's
for a while.
yeah. I feel like now I've had a full career-ish. I've been doing it for 20 years.
Hmm.
It kind of started as literally like a kind of almost like a pipe dream coming out of like high school, figuring out what am I going to do.
Hmm.
Decided to go into audio because I was so kind of like fascinated with the whole studio thing.
Right,
And you guys met me right off the jump. I started
right.
off my little storage room studio out of my apartment building in Park Slope.
That was
That was
Southall,
Southall
right?
South
Studios. That
Falls.
was
South Falls.
2005 when I got that shit started.
Yeah.
So that literally makes 20 years.
Hmm.
And you, Smitty,
Yeah.
uh, our buddy, real good.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Breeze,
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
real easy. Like you
Yeah.
guys were the first people coming through.
Right.
That's a fact. I was a basketball player at that time, just
Yeah.
watching them.
Yeah.
You weren't even rapping.
He
Yeah, I
used to just
wasn't even rapping.
come
It
with
took a
us to the
while. It took a
sessions.
while
Yeah.
for you to kind
Yeah.
of start writing and kind of start
Right.
deciding how you're gonna flow,
Mhm.
find your voice. I mean, I think it's part of everyone kind of developed, and we were all in the same circle, kind of developing our skills at the same time. Like I was not an engineer; I was
Yeah.
figuring it out as I went, and
Right.
we were all just figuring it out as we go. But that's how everyone gets started with something. You have to
Yeah.
kind of like attempt, see where it goes from there, and I'm just happy we were all kind of growing up together and kind of help push each other into getting better with everything we were doing. Like
Mhm.
you guys became better rappers, better writers. I became a better engineer, better producer. Like we all had a better studio. We all kind of made improvements on where we started from as a unit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So in that sense, I'm really grateful. I'm glad to be here. So
Mhm.
20 years later, huh?
Yeah, 20
Facts.
years, man.
And now we're on a
Who'd have thought?
podcast.
And now we're on a
All
podcast.
right.
You've always recorded us, and now we're recording
All
you, man.
right.
Look at
Mhm.
that.
Back around.
But I do want to start from the beginning. I remember early we used to go to your apartment. We used to hang out. Aside from just doing music, we used to hang out a lot. And I remember hearing stories about you being in a band and making your own
Oh
music.
my God. So I was in a bunch of bands. So yeah, basically the whole transition to music was my dad kind of had me playing tennis when I was a kid. I hated it. And around 12 or 13, I rebelled, started dyeing my hair. I got a bunch
Mhm.
of piercings when I was like 13. I got these when I was 13, my year,
13?
13. I had
Mhm.
got my lip ring when I was 13.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get into music, start playing drums and played in like a bunch of bands. And I was kind of like, the backbone of most of the bands I played in. So I was like,
Hmm.
I was the one booking the shows, doing the merch, making the website, uh, like the whole nine yards.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like managing the bands that I was in. I was in a few. I was in a band called Down by One, which was kind of my longest high school stretch of a band. It was probably 3 years long,
Hmm.
and that kind of got me mostly exposed into the studio side.
Yeah.
We were always trying to record, trying to figure out why our recordings weren't as good as some of the bands that we were hearing elsewhere and get recorded.
Right. Right.
So I was like, well, I got to figure out how to engineer. And that's kind of where it all kind of stemmed from, was bad recordings that I got. And I was like, wait, um, it's too expensive. It's inaccessible for like a local band to kind of have a good recording. Why is that the case? Why can't um, especially with digital, it was kind of like the coming of age of the digital music. I could have like a very small setup in the house that would sound relatively as good as a professional setup.
Yeah.
So it just motivated me to kind of figure out what is the missing ingredient in what, uh, based on what I'm hearing and like what I want my band to sound like and other bands to sound like. And then eventually, well, first you don't know anything, and then I decided to go to audio school. I went to audio school for 4 years. I had a really good bunch of teachers. One notable one, John Machado. Thank you very much.
Was that 5 Sound?
That was at Five Towns College. He
Nice.
was the OG, one of my favorite guys of all time. Super good, great teacher. And I think from there I had the technical knowledge, and then from there you just have to just start doing it and keep doing it. And it's one of those things where 5 years go by, you have a certain amount of skill. 10 years go by, you have another amount of skill, and now
Right.
20 years, I could literally do anything with audio, any kind of audio, whether it's for film or music or AI stuff, what you name it, we could figure it out. But it's like you just slowly develop all these little things from experience and just being enveloped in it all day. Because I mean, having this business is also has allowed me to kind of work on my craft daily. So it's been kind of in that sense a pleasure to be able to kind of like have a means, a vessel that keeps going as the brewery recording studio is. Meanwhile, I could keep getting better with my own individual talent. And in that sense, it's been kind of I guess, the hidden blessing amongst it all. It's like the fact that I've become such a very good engineer just by, I have to run a studio, also vice versa. I always wanted just to be an engineer. I never really wanted to run a studio. So it kind of goes hand in hand, but you need a place to work. Other people need a place to work. You have more work than you could accommodate yourself, and you bring in more people. So it kind of went from like that one man shop where you guys saw
that
me,
one room, yeah.
and then eventually after the band phase, went to audio school, started my one man shop in South Fall Studios in Park Slope.
Yeah.
And by the time I graduated college, I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to get a little bit of investment. So I actually made a business plan. I took it to a few banks, only got like 20K or 18K or some shit from Chase out of like 7 or 8 banks I went to, which was fine. I got enough gear between that and Abercrombie savings.
Yo, so hey,
okay,
Let's
so
go into Abercrombie.
let's start that.
yeah, because I'm about to say that's where I met you.
Yeah.
You know, you were my manager for
All
like
right.
2-3 weeks.
I skipped
Right.
ahead too far.
Yeah, so
That's
no,
cool.
that's great. This is great.
That's totally great what you just did.
So now Abercrombie is where we all meet.
Perfect.
That's where I met Mike. That's where I meet you.
I started
and
working
then
there
our journey continues.
late 2004, and I probably met you guys
Probably
maybe
5, yeah.
beginning 2005.
yeah, I came in the 2005.
So, and yeah, I was probably only there until like the end of 2005, because by the end, I remember Southfall I started in September of 2005, and it was like 3 or 4 months in. I was like, I'm not going to come back after Christmas, and I kind of never came back for 2006.
Yeah, you was my manager. You was my manager for like 2-3 weeks, and then you were gone.
like,
Yeah, it wasn't that long. I remember, coming into work, I was constantly late. I remember you always used to bust my chops for that.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, why is he busting my chops? Like, I don't care about this job like that. And then one day, real good, shout out to Real Good, he pulls us together and he's like, yo, Drew's is getting into engineering. He's opening up his own setup. We should go and record with him. And then it's been like that ever since.
We were fucking in my basement.
Yeah, we cutting hits.
And there's no air conditioning. There's like 4 of us sitting on the floor. There's not enough chairs. Everyone's
Speak about the
sweating.
setup. What did you have? What did you have in there?
Oh my God.
Computer, the screen,
My
like
first thing was like I had some kind of shitty PC with a Mackie 32.8 board. I don't know why I decided to have this thing.
Yeah.
But it was useful. I gotta say, I had a bunch of weird mics, most of which I never had a chance to use. I probably did it in like 3 or 4 band sessions in there.
Yeah.
Somehow I fit bands in there.
Yeah.
But it was the hip hop shit that kind of launched off. It was like I was just doing like word of mouth got around that I was doing good hip hop. And all of a sudden, I got a bunch of hip hop work out of that little spot, and I think that's kind of what projected me. But I think Abercrombie, we all kind of met, and we all obviously really introduced us. We kind of started developing a little circle, and I think that circle kind of just got bigger as we grew. I think we kind of became the scene.
Right.
Is kind of what it was.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I was already part of a different scene. I was part of a really entrenched in the punk rock scene in New York. Like I knew all the punk rock hats. Then I got into recording, and my whole scene shifted entirely.
Yeah.
Which is fine because I think in the end, I'm very grateful for the people I think I've met along the way more than anything. I think, and Abercrombie was such a good bond for us. We like between Mikey, you, Cuddy,
Yeah.
and I remember, I was always trying to manage everybody. I was like time cop of the operation. I was like, all right, you got to be on time. You got to do this. You're
Right.
fucking up with this. You're fucking up with that. And then after a while, I was like, man, I'm tired of managing people. I just want to do my own fucking thing. And that's why I was happy to kind of walk away from that. I saved $10,000 from working there for like a year. Because I was just fucking clocking in overtime.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Well,
like unlimited OT
Unlimited
over there,
OT.
right? Yeah.
yo, we was clocking in overtime
We was
too.
clocking in OT too,
Yeah,
bro.
That's
Damn good.
yeah.
Out of the retail spot, that was the number one
Yeah.
paying retail spot
It
at the
was.
time. And it was
Facts.
like, well,
Yep.
you just got to go get your money.
Them Abercrombie checks, we used to like have battles like who was making the most. Who could do the most hours. I think that's like
shit.
especially after you left.
Oh yeah, probably got wild after.
Wait,
and they opened like that the Manhattan, the Fifth Avenue store or something.
Nah, that killed it.
When they opened, that killed the dream.
Yeah,
That
when
killed
they
it,
killed
yeah.
Fab, it killed everything because we was getting away with murder over there.
Yeah.
The good old days. Yeah, so $10,000 in a year, put it all toward audio equipment. That was the launching pad, and then from there, got a little bit of money from Chase when I graduated from school, and I was like, all right, let's make a bigger operation. And so I opened up a spot on Messerol Street, maybe 5 blocks away from where I am now. And that was a shit show. It was a disaster because I think 3 or 4 months into my lease, they started moving in rehearsal bands underneath me, like on the floor below me.
Oh, I remember
this. I remember this. You was heated.
And they were just like rattling my floors. The bass was just like rumbling everything. You couldn't get a good vocal take. And at that point, I was like, all right, I had a 3-year lease, and I went to the owners. I was like, I am out. We're done. You guys violated this shit. I'm not supposed to be dealing with this. So they let it go. They let me sneak out of my lease. Fuck them. And then I found this place, and I've been at this place for now 16 years, since 2009. And it started as like one little spot here, one little room here. And eventually just grew into more spaces and more engineers, and now we're here.
But it didn't look like this.
No,
this
it's not.
this was made with your hands.
Yeah,
right.
This is, I mean, obviously everything we do, everything I've done is all with my calloused construction hands.
Yeah. So where does that come from? That skill?
Oh, I think that was also kind of mostly self-taught. And if you look at the walls and some of the shitty drywall work here, you'll see it was all self-taught.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So I didn't have like
I told you. It should look better than most
I
people's
couldn't
houses.
tell, man. This was home. Yeah.
Well, when I was 22, it looked a lot. Yeah, I had to go over it a few times.
Okay.
Rub
Yeah.
a few slops.
Yeah.
But I think, well, my grandpa was always into like painting stuff. And I remember he built us. I used to go to the Catskills for the summer. My parents used to rent out this little bungalow home, and there's a fucking shack basically that was like completely falling apart, probably from like the 1960s. My grandpa decided to rebuild it just for the sake of it and make it to like a clubhouse for me and some of my friends.
Yeah.
And like he made us help in the construction. So like from a get, I was kind of like, all right, I could hammer some shit in. I could do this. I could paint some stuff. That's easy.
Yeah.
But then like the large things, it's kind of, you just learn as you go. I think a lot of it is just the necessity of having to make something out of, all right, I got to build a studio. What am I going to do? Well, how do I do this? How do I do that? And it doesn't always come out that great the first time, but by your third or fourth time doing laminate floors look all right. But I mean, everything's a learning curve. So I think that's the beautiful thing about the shared experiences, that we've been able to kind of like learn how to do all these things, not only just the audio stuff. Like,
right.
We've been now 20 years into a journey where we've learned life things, life skills, like electrical, fatherhood. I don't know, everything. We have skills.
Yeah.
Who would have thought, like, I rely on B Smith for the edits. when it come down to the shows. You know what I'm saying? Like before we was looking for editors.
Yeah.
Before we was looking
Yeah.
for people to like,
It's
yo,
a
we need to
necessity,
do
like
this.
someone needs
Yeah.
to
And
figure
then-
out, right?
And then you have to learn it. Even when it came to the journey to the show, I always used to tell B on the side, like, yo, damn, we should have somebody do this. We need a cameraman. We need this. We need that. And he kind of like had that mentality of, yo, let's do it on our own. Let's
I
build it
think
on
that,
our
but
own.
that's when
You
you,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
like again, like you have to figure out that things need to get done. Some people aren't going to be on your timeline,
Right.
and eventually, you just have to figure out how am I going to do this myself before time runs out, before like this becomes inconsequential to me.
Right.
And I think that's where the skills come from. It's like you have to acquire them, and then sometimes you just like you're not ready to take it in and do it all yourself because you're still juggling something else. You're acquiring a different skill.
Right.
But you guys are ready for a podcast. Like it's something same thing with business. Like I don't making websites or running Google AdWords or fucking doing social media posts or like I hate doing or fucking banking, accounting, financing,
Yeah.
finances, tax
It's a
returns,
lot.
all this shit. It sucks. Like, but it just you have to do it, and it gets put on your plate, and you're like, well, I have to do this. And the first few times you're like, all right, I'm going to pay this guy to do this. Shell out a whole bunch of money. You're like, fuck. Well, that wasn't fun. I don't like paying people to do this shit.
Right. Right.
So that wasn't so hard for him to do. I
Yeah.
learn how to do that
I
shit.
could just do it myself.
Yeah, why
Yeah.
don't I just do it myself?
Yeah.
And I think that's as your skills grow, you have to rely on people less. I think it's also part of just manhood shit. It's like you're like you become a bigger person, so you could handle more things. You feel like your umbrella is bigger than just you. Like you could take care of this situation and that person, put out this fire, resolve this, and everything's kind of under control. Whereas you present yourself with the same scenario when you're 22 or 24,
Yeah.
it feels like
Feels
chaos.
all over the
Yeah,
place.
yeah,
Man. You
yeah.
can't handle it.
Yeah.
You're right. That comes with time and growth.
time. Yeah. I think that. So I'm glad to
Failing.
sit here with you guys because I think largely it's an appreciation of us being. I've gone through that journey of all these ups and downs and this and that. Like you guys weren't even. Hey, let's go into some shit here. Right?
Yeah.
There's anybody that can do it is you. There's anybody that can do it
I
is
don't know
you.
if you guys even discussed the fact that you guys fell out as friends for.
Yo, listen.
Has that been discussed?
It has been discussed a
been
while
discussed
ago.
a while
We
ago.
spoke on it
No.
last year, but
Last year.
there's a lot of people that still don't know. Yeah.
No, yeah.
And
So,
you were
we're not-
you were around for that. No, we can get into that.
Yeah,
That's
we can
something
get into
that that's something that we preach here is reconciliation, coming back together, forgiving, growth, a lot of those things. And you were in the middle of that because you were recording both of us.
Guys. I'm surprised there weren't more diss records, yo.
Yo,
I will say one thing. I
Yeah.
live for diss records now.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
have a diss record, I will record it for free.
yeah. Because that shit is out of here. Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
No, I want something to like, heighten up that flame a little bit. Turn it up a
Yeah.
little bit. Sometimes
So,
we're too mild and cool here.
Well,
Yeah,
This
we
isn't
kept it
New
off
York.
wax. Yeah, we kept it off wax. We kept
it
it
ain't
off wax
personal.
for the most
You
part.
heard? So it ain't personal. Since
Yeah.
you want to touch it, you
Yeah,
feel me?
guys.
Read diss
You know-
records.
Yeah.
B did have a diss record for me, right? He did put one out for me.
Did he?
It wasn't a whole diss record. It was like
But there was a
it was like if it implies,
But you know what's
Shot
crazy?
fired.
No, it was a. We're not even gonna talk about the chess move,
Okay.
but it's like only I would know. Because if I was to say something, it's like,
Yeah.
you reaching. Smitty ain't saying
yeah, if
that
I play it for
about
you now, you're not gonna
you're
know.
not gonna
Yeah,
know.
you're not gonna know.
But you acknowledge.
Yeah.
Got him.
Oh shit.
Yeah, this guy's messy, man.
Don't even tread.
Yeah.
What was crazy is even through that whole process, even like us having that issue,
Mhm.
I feel like everybody always kind of treaded real lightly with how they dealt with it. Because
Well, you know what?
you never spoke on it.
Yeah. I knew you guys would come back around. I knew it was a temporary thing. And I think anyone from the sidelines knew that. And honestly, I think that's one thing with getting older and friendships is you learn that sometimes the small shit don't matter. You can get over some hurdles. Like I haven't talked to some friends for years and then we just reconcile. Maybe not on the same plane, maybe on a different level, but that feeling of animosity or whatever you have toward them, it disappears. Like time is literally heals all wounds. I hate to say it does.
Yeah.
And like from the sidelines, we knew it was gonna be temporary. That's why I was like, I'm not gonna play this side or that side. I knew like you guys were in your feelings about some shit that happened, but in the grander scale of things, it's not so consequential. You guys will make it back around. You guys are going to be friends, and why choose sides? You guys, I'm in the middle. Come back to neutral.
Fact.
Right.
You know, it's crazy. That's one thing I do appreciate you and anybody else that played neutral out that whole side. Because it, you know, at the same time, remember, I met you from being around B.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so meeting you from being around B, you easily could have been like, you know what, I know B first. I've been rocking with B first, but you didn't do that. You actually showed me that respect, and you actually, I think even that time when me and B wasn't talking, you actually helped me develop more as an artist. You the one who helped
That's
me
when
to
you
find
took off as an artist. I will say, actually, when you guys split
Yes.
off, I think it was a necessary thing. Also, sometimes
Yeah.
life just brings things on your plate, but I think it helped you develop. It took put you on a path where you were like, all right, I have to man up and take control of my own shit now, and you did. You leveled up
Facts.
as an artist, and I think sometimes it takes breaking off from somebody else to do that. Like again, going back into the friendship, sometimes you see a friend kind of tear away from you, go do their own thing, and like you could totally be happy for them, and you know they're like they're doing the right thing. It sucks for you in the relationship, but like in the grand scale, like they're growing, good. Like, and in the end, if life comes back around, you might even see him again. You might even reconcile. You might even be on the same plane again, or if not, you'll be on a different plane and still be appreciate each other for what you guys did.
Yeah.
Which, you know, you saying that kind of like give credence to like right now, because it did help me grow individually as an artist because I had no choice. So when we got back together, and you know, at first I'm like, you know, when we started doing the pod, I kind of like, yo, we should get help. We should, you know, we need this, we need that.
Yeah.
But he also reminded me, like, bro, we got each other.
Yeah.
And then because we got
just
each
knock it
other,
out.
like, all we got to do is lock in. Because if I, you know, grew as an artist, and then he's always been, you know, established as an artist and maintained his status, if we just work hard enough together, we can do it.
A phrase that I still hold on to this day and I share with others, and something that you gave to me was the concept of 10,000 hours.
Oh, 10,000 hours.
Yeah, why don't you speak on that? What does that mean to you? And
Where you at?
Yeah.
How much hours you
I
got
have
in?
no idea. I remember I gauged myself having 10,000 hours like 8 or 9 years in.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
so you
was a
probably
while
like
ago.
20,
I'm
you
probably
probably like 20,
20,
30.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely double 10,000. I mean, it was just I feel like to get good at anything, it just takes time. It takes commitment, and it takes hours. I don't think
No.
10,000 is an arbitrary number, but it kind of makes sense. It's like based on my trajectory and how long it took me to be in the studio to get where I felt comfortable doing more or less anything. And I think uh, that's kind of just a milestone where you just find a point of comfort. Like you're no longer hesitant or tentative. And even if you don't know how to do it, you're capable of finding the way to do it. It is very arbitrary. I think in everything it's different. But for me, it definitely felt like around that time is when I kind of came into my own. I felt like, all right, you give me this kind of genre, that kind of genre, this kind of song, this kind of artist. I could fix it all. I could make it all sound good. Before that, it was more of a guessing game. It's like, all right, some things will hit, some things won't hit, some things will hit, some things won't hit. And after a while, you're like, all right, no, now it's like a streamlined operation. Everything I'm getting, it's all just it's in and out the same way. It feels great. These are all good records. I'm doing good work, and you feel like from there it only gets better because then it's all in the details. And I think with anything, I think the mastery is in the details. Like to get those broad strokes, that's where most people will get into and leave off. They'll never get into the details with anything. I think there's only a few things that you'll have an opportunity to really dive into so hard in your life because it takes so much time out of yourself to kind of go and be like, all right, I'm going to learn and master this to know every single little minute way to do this and that. And sometimes it's only one thing in your whole lifetime. Sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes you never master anything. And but again, I think it's just a matter of the commitment into the work and into the passion. I think if you ask me, did I want to have a studio when I started? No, I did not. Did I want to figure out audio and make things sound good? Yes, I definitely did. So it was a commitment to trying to make that happen for myself, being able to control sonic audio, and I think with anything, I was blessed enough to have like the opportunity to pursue my passion and kind of go with like full on into it and keep doing it, and let the passion be whatever my 10,000 hours is. But sometimes you have something that isn't your passion and you still master it and you still have this incredible craft. I know, like, and I think that's the cool thing about life is like also not getting stuck and figuring out if you have the skill, what other skills can I acquire, or what skills relative that are in proximity to the skill set that I have are within my grasp for me to reach and also know well. Um, and sometimes you just go about your life. You're not even sure when those opportunities to learn those things come about. You're um, like right now, I'll say if you ask me, we were just talking about this actually before we started the podcast. In February, we closed down my LA studio. And I now have this opening of time, and I'm like, all right, March and April were kind of like, all right, still trying to figure out the loose ends of that. But May and June have come around. I'm like, I see myself with extra opportunities. I'm like, all right, what is going to be my next thing? What else am I going to do? And sometimes, like, I want it to come to me. I don't have it right now, and it's great. Kind of, you almost have to appreciate that it's not there. But there will be a skill set that I'm going to have to acquire to get to whatever the next thing is going to be. And I think that's going to be the coolest thing is like whatever it is, whatever I want to decide to do, I'm going to have to figure out how to do it. And that's going to bring about a whole skill set, whether I like it or not, if I want to do that, if it's my passion to choose to do that. And cool thing about life, I think as you get older, you're like, you appreciate the path as much as you do the destination, because it's like life is the whirlwind and it's a day-to-day kind of thing where you have to kind of deal with yourself, who you are, your thoughts, what are you trying to be, are you actualizing everything, your potential, and you're always trying to get better, and sometimes you want it to hit now, and it doesn't, and you're like, oh well, maybe it's time for me to be patient, maybe it's time for me to be to let things hit me, digest it, and then move on my path. Maybe it's not time for me to just rush through something. Because as a kid, all I did, rush through this, rush through that, build a studio when I was 22, expand it, do this, LA studio, that. And now I'm like, all right, great. But also, that was part of the path. Sometimes relaxing, taking a step back, letting the path hit you is also part of the path. You don't realize that as a kid. I think you feel like I'm going to manipulate everything.
Yeah, you just got to work.
The world has its way. It's like you just have to sometimes let the winds, let the
world turn,
let
right?
the gods do what they do.
Right.
So one thing, because to the 10,000 hours, right? And you having a certain skill set, I believe, and I've always said I feel like I'm gonna get the best clarity, the best sound quality by recording with you. Now, me and B had this conversation one time, right? Because we did kind of like, because I said, yo, what's the difference? Because they'll have a conversation when we was like, I'll say, yo, what's the difference between you and the second engineer that I was working with, which is B Rad? And it was just like the bottom. When you say there's no bottom, B Smith used to be like, yo, Drew doesn't have no bottom, but he said that comes from your rock background. I don't understand that terminology. So can you like?
Yeah, no, he's speaking on the style of mixing.
Yes.
As far as like hip hop, like mixing hip hop, mixing rock, and the difference between it.
For sure. I think, well, that's one thing. I mean, you guys have seen it from the get, because I mean, we were recording for so long. I think every genre is so different that it takes a while to learn exactly what the intention of the genre is. And the style of mixing instruments is so different genre to genre. I think when I first started recording, it was so based in rock stuff.
Yeah.
For me to learn hip hop took a few years, and I had to understand every moving part. But also things have changed so much since we started working. Like,
hold on. What's the no bottom part? Because till this day I don't understand what no bottom mean.
Low end bass.
Okay.
There you go.
I understand bass. You say bass, I understand bass. I was waiting for a terminology that I understood. You heard? I'm a little, and you know this, till this day, I couldn't count bars. I still till this day can't count a 16.
You
Yeah.
got a 16?
No,
Come
I just know how
on.
to write.
You just
And
know
I
how to
say that all the time.
Yeah.
For some reason, I just
Mikey's the kind of guy who'll rhyme for 54
Yeah, right. Yeah,
bars.
54 bars, and then you
I
got
was
to
Mr.
cut it
One
down.
Take. I was
53 and
Yeah.
a half.
I was Mr.
Yeah.
One Take with you. And that's one thing I
I
do
know.
appreciate recording with me. I'm coming in with my shit memorized.
Memorized.
I'm not coming in. I'm
Memorized.
not punching in. I'm not
Mhm.
doing none of that. So that's why I say certain terminologies and certain things within the mixing process that, you know, me myself as an artist, and I know plenty of other artists don't know themselves. So even when like B Smith was talking about
But you
that,
know the
that's
thing is, everyone has a different terminology. Like
Okay.
Yeah.
I will hear the same thing called 4 different things. Like if doubles will be called doubles, punch-ins, in and outs,
Yeah.
ad-libs,
Someone
all
might
the
call
same
it
time.
ad-libs. Yeah.
And you're like, okay, we're doing ad-libs.
Yeah.
They're not ad-libs, they're the punch-ins. You're like, or
Yeah.
ins and outs, whatever you call them. And
Mhm.
everyone has a different low end, bottom, bass.
okay.
It's all yeah. So
That's all it's saying.
it's all the same. Everyone's gonna call it something different. So it's like you just have to
Yeah.
get used to it.
But I do remember what he's talking about. This is years ago.
Mhm.
You know, with us, we were always like thinking forward and trying like new things early on. So we were trying like some trap records,
Yeah.
and then we were trying to mix it. You know, this is our first time dealing with it, and I'm hearing the mix, and I'm like, yo, why is the bass so low? No, the bass is supposed to be loud, but in the theory of music, usually, you know, everything has its place and has a sitting,
Yeah.
and that's how you would mix the record. And I know, looking back, I think trap is a little more unconventional as far as like the bass being so prominent,
High.
and
absolutely.
that was the challenge
Absolutely.
with
Well, I
with
think
what we were doing.
the bass.
See? You
Yeah.
explained that very well. I didn't know what the fuck going
Yeah.
on.
No, I would say bass sounds have also shifted so much. I think we went from very open kind of 808 sounds to being very distorted kind of 808 sounds.
Yeah.
Even the sounds of kick drums have changed. I think sonically music has evolved so much since we started working.
Yeah.
Even hip hop. I mean, when we were the style of hip hop we were doing back in that day,
Mhm.
and the styles that have evolved from that this day are so drastically different sonically, and both tempo wise, energy wise, instrument wise. Also, like remember when we started, dude, everything was on a CD.
Yeah.
All the instrumentals were 2 tracks off a CD, which was like an instrumental mixtape
Yeah.
of like, here's 30 beats.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do 11, 13, and 17 today. No,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you bring in your little instrumental thing, and I take it off the CD and put it in my CD.
So there was no stems, right? None of that stuff. Yeah.
No, we were working on a different plane. Now it's like everything. I haven't burned a CD since 2017, 18, and I was really the last ones to do it.
Yeah.
Everything's digital, everything's online, everything's and for the better, everything file management computers have gotten more powerful, so it's easier for all producers to give you stems. Like it's rare nowadays that only files get lost or something.
Yeah.
That I can't get stems. Usually 9 times out of 10, yes, I can. Whereas before, maybe 25% chance, 30% chance. If you're lucky.
Sorry. I got a question for you, right?
Mhm.
You know, B would love this. How do you feel about AI in music? Because I'm not jacking AI.
Ooh, that's a great conversation.
I'm not jacking AI
Okay.
at all.
You are in the right place for that, Mikey.
Thank you.
All right.
Because he's over here trying to convince me. And I'm
Yeah.
so surprised as an artist
Yeah.
that I admire and he worked hard.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, how will you want to use something that I feel like is going to dumb down the process of just creating? It's just going to make you lazy. Now, granted, I do
Yes.
believe it's useful.
I agree. It will make you lazy.
It will make you
Mhm.
lazy. People are already fucking
Yes.
lazy.
No.
But I will say it'll make you more productive.
Is it you? Are you being productive or AI is being productive?
AI is helping you be more productive. AI is a tool. And I think for now, we need to recognize that it's a tool and we shouldn't let it get beyond a tool. I think it's been useful. Things that I've done with AI over the past 2 or 3 years have gotten exponentially better. Before it was simple stuff like, all right, I'm gonna strip an acapella off this 2-track because I need an acapella. Now it's to the point where I'm making like AI clones of voices. Like Smitty, if I wanted to make your voice,
Yeah.
I have enough of your takes from back then.
Yeah, you
where I
could.
could make a fake B Smith and he will sing all my songs for me.
Yeah.
No,
They got you doing that now? They got you, or this is you dabbling?
No. I have clients who I'm doing this with. So I
Yeah.
have one client who he makes he uses what's this called Sunu, right? It's called the AI
Okay.
program that makes songs.
Okay,
So
yeah.
he inputs lyrics, gives it prompts to make the style and kind of song that he wants, right?
Mhm.
The song gets created in this fake voice,
Mhm.
but it's not his voice.
Mhm.
So what I do is I take and split those stems, take the vocal off, which is the fake voice,
Yeah.
not his voice.
Mhm.
I use that vocal to run through my AI emulator of his voice. So I inputted a bunch of audio,
Yeah.
like hours worth of his audio to create this AI emulator of his voice.
Yeah.
And now I take that fake song that got created with his lyrics and his prompts, whatever,
Hmm.
swap out the fake voice into his voice,
Yeah.
and it's his song.
Wow.
And it sounds like him.
So he's not recording
He's not recording
anymore. He
He's
doesn't
not even
record at
here.
all.
You see what's going
He's
on
not
here.
even here.
What's going on here, right? So now, yo, I don't want to
Yeah.
get no ghostwriting allegations with anybody out here.
Yeah.
These AI
I'm sorry,
allegations
world.
are
Sorry to tell
worse.
you, AI is here.
It's here and it's not
You-
going
You
anywhere.
have to embrace it. It's something.
Yeah.
It's a tool where it's going to keep getting more wicked with the things it does. It's going to be wilder and crazier to us, but to some extent, we need to acknowledge that it's just one thing we use, and don't let it take over our lives. We don't want to
Right.
fucking
Matrix, and
We
we
don't
don't
know
want the
Matrix.
Terminators. Excuse me, but I'm very, and this is what I see online when it comes down to AI. I'm afraid for the grandparents and the parents, the ones that like the baby boomers. The baby boomers are not socially and internet equipped the way we are. So I feel like, when my grandmom's is calling me and she's telling me she's seeing like this news
Oh my
online and then
God.
I know that it's
God.
AI. You get what I'm saying? How do I tell granny like,
In that
no,
sense,
that's
it's
fake?
terrifying.
Like
In
it's
that sense,
terrifying
it's
because now
terrifying.
her blood pressure going up. Now she gotta go see Dr. Phil. You know what I mean? She over here watching things on the news that makes her brain go. Now she gotta see a mental therapist. It's a lot gonna go. It's a lot that I feel like people are going to. They're not gonna be able to emotionally and mentally handle what AI is going to do in the future.
Absolutely. I think it comes with a big caution sign. I think we have to all be weary of the capabilities of it. I think it's scary. Yeah, like I just said, I can make a Beatsmith clone, and that clone could be calling your son in the middle of the day, being like, "Hey, meet me at this bus stop." Suddenly, some weird shit goes down.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's
No, for real.
terrifying. Absolutely. But I think as long as people are sensible, use it for the right things. But again, people are not sensible. People are very malicious sometimes.
Yeah.
You're totally right, but I
Yeah.
also feel like that comes from because we live on the internet, right? We all living on the internet, and everything is like through social media. I believe like how you could decipher AI is by actually human interaction. The more humans interact with each other instead of always interacting with each other through text, through social media, through Instagram, Facebook. This is how we tend to communicate with people.
Yeah.
We don't call nobody and we're not having like 20-minute conversations like that unless it's about some business or it's something important. Like we're not doing
It's so
that.
rare to have a phone call nowadays, right?
Exactly.
It's like it has to be about something really important.
Really
to
important for
force-
somebody to
yeah.
even talk, like just to even
It's
have that homie
wild.
interact. And so when we do decide to have like human interaction, it's usually in settings.
Yeah.
Whether there's music, alcohol, and drugs involved.
Yeah.
All the time. It doesn't matter what setting. Even if you go out to dinner, like wine, food,
Something,
those are
yeah.
something that you have to indulge in actually to communicate with somebody.
Stimulate yourself. Yeah.
Exactly.
No one just goes cold at it and sits at a table. What's up?
What's going on? Just to have a
Right.
So I just feel like if we could keep like the human interaction part and keep people like knowing like this is what a human feels like.
Yes,
Pause, no homo.
yes, yeah,
You feel me?
yeah.
I just touched
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's kind of like you can decipher from what's human behavior and AI behavior. Because you would feel that connection, like a spiritual, energetic connection. Because even when we come in and we meet each other, there's an energy that we all cipher amongst each other that makes us feel like, oh, this feels a certain. You feel the connection.
Absolutely. I think
AI
that's the beautiful thing about a studio, which will never disappear. I think people want a hub to create things, and I think, all right. So we're talking about AI. We're talking about how that's changing the the landscape of music, right? But I think in general, like what's going to happen for me in the future, is a studio going to survive? I think in the end, people want a place to create music. It's not everybody. It's not like labels have basically stopped funding music. Like labels have, they got no money. They're broke. Spotify ain't paying everybody out. Everybody's broke. Artists, everybody's broke. But it's a turning of a wave. There'll always be people striving to do music. I think the one thing kind of social media has shifted is like when we were growing up, you wanted to become a rapper or a singer because it was almost like you were looking for a mix of talent to make you famous and successful, right?
Mhm.
Now it's like people don't look for the talent; people look for the famous.
The famous, that's like the top thing, right?
Yeah,
The first
and it's a
asterisk.
quick jump, and I think the internet and social media has made it very fast for some people to get their quick 15 minutes. It doesn't survive though, because you think about the lifespan of a social media thing, it's in and out. It's
Yeah,
not an
it's in and
artist.
out. Yeah.
So I think generally kids nowadays kind of almost grow up in the sense of where they don't want to put the time into the mastery of a craft like
Right.
rapping, singing, writing, engineering, this and that, to um, to be able to make it more than 15 minutes worth. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And in that sense, I think we're kind of going toward a place where in the future. So what happens? We're still gonna have studios. But it's gonna be less people doing actual music stuff. A lot of people are gonna be just doing, oh, we create songs, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But we'll still be the guys playing the bands, rapping, singing with the skills. There'll always be those people. And I think music is gonna keep evolving. But the sense of we have abilities to play things with our hands and with our minds and with our vocal cords, like that will not change. There'll always be someone somewhere singing, creating, and us wanting to collaborate with that. So I think in a studio sense, that's where we do it. We collaborate in a studio, and there's nothing like a microphone that captures something organic, something kind of in the room, just like this is. The moment, like we're always trying to capture the moment, right? That's where content kind of stems from. We're always trying to capture that one moment of brilliance or something, right? But as it evolves, I think um, we're gonna be looking toward studios as more of not necessarily just as a place where we have to record, because now you can record at your house, you can record on your phone while you're somewhere else, but it's more of a hub. It's more of a place where
No.
minds gather, people create. If you're coming from Los Angeles, you're coming from London, you meet in New York, you need a place to go.
It's like a creative space.
It's a hub. It's always been a hub. I think
Yeah.
that's how we all gathered. I mean,
Yeah.
going back to our days when we started with you, me, Breezy, and Mikey, like
Yeah.
it was a hub. We had a space
Yeah.
to gather. Like
And honestly, I was just coming to chill.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing
That's
nothing.
how
I
it
was
started,
just, and
yeah.
I'm just laying on. I was laying on the carpet on the floor watching them record, watching you do your thing. I had no interest in it, but it was just like, oh, my guys are doing their things, and it was just like it was the thing to do. Like if you want to hang out on the block, you get what I'm saying? Like, oh, I want to watch my guys do their thing.
Yeah.
I want to watch Drew. I want to watch what he does. I also want to give like double down on that because I remember like when you would be recording us and you started to record like Tata and them, Tata Fame and them, and I remember like they used to we used to always sit like right there because we just want to watch you do your thing.
Yeah.
Like somebody would be recording in there, but we want to see how you move, and I just feel like it took away from people recording it kind of took away from watching the magic happen.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes watching the magic happens, you appreciate it regardless of the outcome. Whether you have a hit record, whether your record does good or not, watching it being created is it was something about it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? You
completely
enjoyed that
agree.
aspect. You get what I'm saying? You didn't watch how much money you spent in the studio. You didn't care. You just wanted to enjoy your
create it.
time
I
and you
th- I
just wanted
think-
to create.
I think in the end, as artists, we're always going to want to create. I think we all need an outlet. I think that's why people. So artists, on a commercial sense, might peak in like their 20s, right? We're in our 30s. We're still doing our shit, right? Why? Because we need an outlet. We need a place and a way to kind of like go about releasing this energy that's inside of us, this ability that we have, right? We've now developed a skill, like we were talking about,
Right.
that we want to kind of unleash, showcase sometimes, and just utilize. And there'll be days and like sometimes maybe I'll go on vacation, not be in the studio for a week or two, and like I come back and it feels great. It feels great to just have the outlet of the engineering, the keyboard, the mouse, the sounds, me being able to manipulate sonics. Like it feels, that to me is my release. To you guys, same thing. So you guys step in the booth, get a record or two off your thing. It sounds good. You see you craft it. It feels good. And you come home and you're like, all right, I have this thing. You know what I mean? It might be a digital MP3, but it's still this thing that you've made.
Yeah.
And in the sense of like, especially what we try to leave behind, right? As we get older, like we want to have things that we're proud of, right? Things that we've achieved, and like we want to make the best of what we put our time into, whether that's the music we do as a release or whatever the outlet is. What we do. So I don't think we're going to stop doing this when we get older. We're not looking for a commercial success. We're looking for records that
mean something.
That appeal to us, that feed your soul, right? Yeah, you do it for yourself. You're not doing it for anybody else. I think same thing with my work. It's like, at some points you're like, well, I got to do this to kind of like work with this artist to kind of get a little further ahead, work with this artist. And at some point you're like, no, you just have to do you and feel good about what you're doing and work with the people that are important to you and your community. And that's more rewarding. I think it's more rewarding to have that circle kind of grow with you instead of seeing somebody from an outside circle come in, check in with you, like you, whatever. That's cool. But you didn't grow up with him. Like you didn't see him do the whole 9 yards. And it's more meaningful if you see someone go through the whole journey. Because you yourself know what it takes like to go through the whole journey.
Right. So just to wrap up on the AI side, well, one thing I do agree with you as far as it being a tool and keeping it that way. You know, I do strongly believe in that, because even with this show, AI plays a huge part. I use AI as far as getting the cleaning the audio, as far as graphics for like for the Instagram posts or YouTube, like the thumbnails. I use AI for that as well, so it helps. If I didn't have some of these tools, it'd probably be a lot harder to get this stuff out. So it definitely helps as a tool. But for you, I do want to ask you, do you hear or feel a difference from the records that you record here, you know, from artists coming in, recording in the booth, as compared to someone who's not here and you're dealing with the AI tools and technology, one song compared to the next? Can you tell the difference? Do you feel a difference, or do you feel like the technology is where like it's almost the same?
Sonically, you could tell a difference. I think that you have to do a lot more editing with AI. There's a lot of artifacts, especially because the way like some of the processes that are still occurring, like stem splitting isn't super accurate. The AI emulators are shaky, especially with high frequency content. If there's like an S or a T, like this is turns into weird sonics. I don't think it's there yet. It's definitely getting a lot better, and with enough edits, you can make it sound there. But I will say, some of the songwriting with AI is very good. Like I'm like, man,
okay,
that's an AI song. Like wow. And the cool thing with AI is like, especially if you're a songwriter, it's like
look, he don't want to hear that. Look,
it'll spit out 3 or 4 different variations. It'll spit out 3 or 4 different variations of your song idea. And sometimes
that's why your mic did that.
Yeah, that's right. You don't like it. You'll have all these different ideas now, right? Again, it's a tool. So it's like, as a musician, what can I use it for? I could use it for ideas. Put it through a thing with my lyrics. But I think it's still cooler if you go and do it yourself, because you'll be able to approach it with the mindset of, I like the way AI did this, but let me go do it my way. Because I think there's somewhere in between where it's like you could take the ideas of these things, run it through your own system, right? You have a hard drive, you have a processor. Take that human existence and put it into use. Like, you have the experience, we have the tools. I think it's cooler to combine both things. I think it's why get stuck in one realm or the other. I think if you're not utilizing the tools, you're gonna eventually get left behind.
And I don't want that to happen to me.
But also, if you're taking advantage too much of the tools, there's no craftsmanship, there's no skill. Going back to that.
You're right.
So we get ended on this, right? I see why we ain't got no staff. Cause this man, see, there you go.
Go.
This man want to hire AI instead of hiring real staff.
Man. Yeah, more money in the pocket, bro. Why not?
IAP. It ain't personal.
Yeah.